Okay, next you've probably noticed that a couple of additional options have been added to your WordPress dashboard. Now, Genesis will have been added, obviously, assuming you're using Genesis as your framework, which I obviously think you should do. And your child theme may be added depending on what child theme you're using. Now, if you're not a podcaster, you probably shouldn't be going for Appendipity because obviously there are specialist child themes focused on podcasting. Whichever child theme you aim for will probably be added within your WordPress menu as well. So let's have a little look into Genesis here. So Genesis initially, if you click on theme settings, there's a couple of things that you should be aware of in here as well. First of all, it's custom feeds. Now, WordPress has feeds associated with it. If you're not sure what feeds are, well, it's important for you to become aware of this. This is basically an RSS feed, which stands for really simple syndication and is a way of subscribers to find out about the latest blog post that you have published. And it's also a way for you to make aware other sites of the fact that you've published a new post. So feeds are important. If you don't know much about it, read up about it. Now, it may be the case that you want to use a third-party service such as FeedBurner. There are pros and cons for doing so. If you're going to use it, then I recommend actually using what's called My Brand in FeedBurner and displaying your domain name. So I've already got this set up for digitalmarketingradio.com. That's where I set it up in here. I will probably set up something similar for businessbookofthemonth.com. So that's at feedburner.google.com and then just search for My Brand from there. So the feed is important. If you want to set up that, then obviously go inside there and do it. There's pros and cons, as I say. It's not absolutely essential, but it's important that you know about it. The next thing I will do is scroll down further here and just show you the header and footer scripts section, because that is very important as well. You will want to include certain scripts within there. So what kind of scripts would you want to add in there? Well, to begin with, Google Analytics. So within Google Analytics, you'd want to go to Admin and set up a new property. And what I am going to do is I'm going to set up Business Book of the Month as a new property here and enter the website URL, select the industry and create a tracking ID. And once I do that, then I'm going to go back to the theme and copy and paste that into, I believe it's the header actually section that one goes to. But whatever script you're using, it will say where to insert it. It's generally within the header section, so it'll say immediately before the /head tag, insert your script. So you copy and paste it into there and save settings. If for whatever reason it needs to go into the body, then it needs to go in here. And again, remember to save the settings there. So I'm going to go away. I'm going to get my Google Analytics script and I'm going to insert it in there. And if you're at the same stage, then you go ahead and do it too. Next up, I'd like you to click on SEO settings inside the Genesis tab. And there are a few things that I'd like to make you aware of inside here. So first of all, the Google Plus publisher URL. So this is your Google Plus profile URL. Must be a business URL, not a personal account. To be honest with you, Google Plus is probably less important now than it actually used to be, but who knows how important it's going to be in the future. It's probably a good idea to tell Google what website is associated with your Google account and vice versa. So if you go to Google Plus brands, just search for Google on that. Create a Google Plus page if you haven't done already. I've just created one quickly for Business Book of the Month. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to copy and paste the URL from the top of that page and then go back to my Genesis settings and paste that inside there. In fact, I'm going to save settings just now just to make sure that is saved in there. There's a few other things down here that are important to make you aware of here. Firstly, the homepage document title, the homepage meta description. These two things here are very, very important because this depends on how your website is displayed when people find it within Google search results. So what's displayed in terms of title and description in search results. So you need to get that spot on there as well. Now, I've got a document here just to the right-hand side that I could copy and paste something from. So I could quite easily just call the title Business Book of the Month Podcast. However, from an SEO perspective, that's probably not the best thing to do. So what else could I do? Well, there's a great little tool that's available on Moz actually. So if you just search for Moz title tag preview tool, that'll come up on Google. It hasn't changed since 2004 actually. So if you copy and paste your proposed page title in there and click Cuts Me Google, then it'll show you roughly what your page title will look like in Google search results. So here you can see that you can actually probably have a little bit more text. It's a good idea of course to have your brand name, the name of your business in there, but you can have a little bit of descriptive text. And from an SEO perspective, that descriptive text that in there is very, very, very important. So what you need to be doing is incorporating hopefully a keyword phrase in there that's relevant to your business as well. So I'm going to go to another Google tool now called the Google Keyword Planner tool. Now you actually need a Google AdWords account for this, but it's you don't need to be spending on Google AdWords. So if you haven't got an account on Google AdWords, sign up just now. You don't have to start any paid campaigns, but then search for Google Keyword Planner tool and you'll get to this kind of tool. So what I've done here is I've searched business books within the Keyword Planner tool, and it's given me a few suggestions of how much people search per month for that particular keyword phrase. But in addition to that, it's given me other keyword phrases that are related to that, other phrases that people do type in. So things like management books, best business books, business book, books on business, and I can see the search volume for those kind of phrases as well. Now, something that really jumps out at me probably is best business books, because that will be core to the audience that I'm trying to attract, and also loads of people search for it per month. So if people are searching for best business books, then I'm sure they'll be interested in actually listening to a monthly podcast which is about the best business books and reviewing them. So I'm going to try and incorporate that phrase within my page title. So I'm going to go back to the Moz tool, which is here, and copy and paste the enhanced version in there, and click on the Cuts Me Google, and that fits in very, very nicely. So I'm really happy with that. So that's the business book of the month podcast, which is the title of my business, as it were, but also best business books. It summarizes what I offer. So that's a lovely title to have within Google search results, and it gives me a better opportunity to rank for that keyword phrase, best business books. However, there's a description underneath here as well, and I need to actually have a description that is slightly less probably than 160 characters. And there's another tool that you can use to see what your title and your description together. So this is a URL of it, so I'll just say it's seomofo.com/snippet-optimizer.html, so you can see that at the top of the screen there as well. So what I'm going to do is copy and paste the title into there. I'm going to copy and paste a description that I've written, which could hopefully be all right, which is there. So, Business Book of the Month is a monthly podcast discussing the best business books, hosted by David Bain, Mark Asquith, Colin Gray, and Chris Marr. And the URL. So, the URL is going to be, let's see, copy and paste that from my website into the tool, which is there. And there we go. Underneath here is what it would look like in a Google search result. Business Book of the Month podcast, best business books. Now, if you've seen, I've also incorporated the phrase best business books within the description here. So it helps because what Google can do is they can bold the phrase here that people search for. So, for instance, I'll show you that in the Moz tool. If someone searches for best business books, then what tends to happen is Google highlights, Google bolds the words which are incorporated within your search phrase there, making it slightly more likely I think that people are going to click through that search result, and they'll do the same kind of thing with the meta description maybe as well. So if you can include that within your description, so I'm really happy with that. So I've got my meta description sorted there, which is here. I've got the URL, which is obviously going to be the homepage of the website, and I've got the title of the website there. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to copy and paste those into Genesis and the SEO settings. So we're going to change the homepage document title to that. We are going to copy and paste the meta description into there, and we are going to scroll down and click the Save Settings button. Very, very important to make sure everything's saved. Now, there's lots of other options within here, within the Genesis SEO settings, but the good news is that generally, the settings that are default are probably the ones you want to go for. So there's nothing else that's essential for you to be really, really aware of and actually changing the settings for just now. Of course, you can go through that, you can see what everything's about, but that's all you need to be doing at the moment with regards to the Genesis SEO settings. And finally, I just wanted to show you this. So this is Genesis ImportExport, and it's unlikely that you're going to be using this, especially if it's a fresh Genesis installation that you're working on. If you've previously used Genesis and you've got an amended version of settings saved locally on your computer, you can import that into your theme here as well. Likewise, if you're actually exporting your existing settings to use somewhere else, you can do that from here as well. But again, if it's a fresh Genesis installation and you're just using it for the first time, don't worry about this section here.